Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Grow Roots and welcome to my August 2023 garden tour. You can see I'm sitting here, it's sunrise ish. It's about 7 o'clock in the morning. It's about the only time that we can get out in the garden at this moment because we are in a massive heat wave, and that's kind of why I'm sitting down, relaxing, drinking my coffee with you today, because I want to tell you a little bit before I take you through my garden. And so here's a beautiful view of the sunrise as I talk about this, but I have to say I was a little tempted to just skip the August backyard garden tour this month, but then I had to remind myself the reason behind why I'm filming my backyard, my front yard, and putting it on YouTube for you all to see. One of the reasons is really just to document month by month. I wanted to see how my garden changed throughout the growing season, and then to document all of the different struggles that we all have and how I've faced those struggles and, moved on. So that's exactly what this month is going to be. You will see that the garden is struggling. It's so funny. There's a meme that's going around all of our gardening communities in North Texas and probably all throughout Texas in general. I'm just mostly on the North Texas gardening forums and things. And there's a meme going around. I'll pop it on the screen. Texas gardeners right now are just in survival mode. We've had kind of a record summer, and it's not to say that we don't normally see really, really, really hot summers because we're famous for that, but something about this summer has our plants dying before our eyes. And that's what this meme is about. And I've been sitting down kind of reflecting, what about this summer is so unique? What about this summer has really got these plants, plants that are usually very hardy and able to, heat tolerant plants, they're just dying before our eyes. And a couple of stats, just really quick, just bear with me and I'll take you through this garden. But Pete Delkus is our weather guy for the DFW area. I think it's WFAA, and he has a Facebook page. And so I'm taking all of these stats from his page because he's great at giving us these stats. But basically, last year was a record-breaking summer as well, and my garden was not nearly this desperate. But last year we had 47 days. By now we had 47 days of 100-degree plus temperatures. At this time in 2023, we are on day 39. So you'd think, well, we don't even have as many 100-degree days. However, by this time last year, we were done with our 100-degree days, and it was starting to cool off here in North Texas and DFW area. Well, we are, yesterday and the day before was the hottest days of the year at 109 degrees. That's not counting the heat index factor, which was well above 115. It was hot, and we're not cooling off at night. So we have double and triple the number of days that are over 105 as we did last year. We also have, I think, triple the amount of days or hours that of consecutive hours where our heat index is above 110 degrees. You guys, it has not just been 100-degree plus days. It has been extreme 105 plus days for us. And so, and also that coupled with our drought, our rain situation, we have in the DFW area, this was measured, there's no measurable rainfall since July 16th. So we're at over a month, 34 days or something like that, with no measurable rainfall. Now, I think we got maybe a little bit of measurable rain. We're a little bit north of DFW in Aubrey, Texas, or Providence Village, Texas. And so we did get a slight bit of measurable rain with a thunderstorm that passed through, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago. But no rain really. And all of those things combined has just really, really made an impact on these plants. So bear with me as I take you through the garden. I hope you've enjoyed this little sunset talk about our struggles here in North Texas. If you are in North Texas, man, peace be with you. Let's just keep going. So yeah, let me take you through the garden, and here we go. I thought I'd start up here. I'm actually on my trampoline because I love this view, and especially during the sunset, it's just magnificent. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna start down here with my mum border. I'm not gonna talk about the plants too specifically, just showing you what they're like right now. I will say this, part of the problem in my backyard right now, I discovered that I have moles. I have mole tunnels all throughout this backyard, or I did. I'm hoping to have gotten rid of them. I have applied beneficial nematodes, which are tiny little microscopic, I guess they're microscopic worms, but they go into the soil and they parasitize grubs, fleas, ticks even, lots of, just the harmful pests that you don't want in your garden, borers, Japanese beetles, weevils, things like that. They go into the soil and feed on the larval stages of these insects, and they kill them. And that's what my moles have been after. They've been after the grubs. So I applied that this week, a few days ago, and so I am hoping to be rid of that. There were some extra precautions that I had to take. Typically, you do not put beneficial nematodes down when it is hot like this. I'm not going to get into it right now, but if you want more details, comment, and maybe we'll do a video on how I applied the nematodes. But right now, garden tour. Okay, so mums, I've decided to keep them here for now, but we're going to be replacing them, and my number one choice right now is Autumn Joy Sedum. The only hesitation I have is this area kind of gets overspray from the grass, so I'm a little bit worried that the Autumn Joy Sedum will not like the extra moisture, but I'm willing to give it a try, at least on a few of them. So I'm going to try and pick those up whenever I see them in the garden centers. Here's my limelight, and I might lose this plant. It is 3 years old, 3 or 4 years old. I think this is his actual 4th growing season, and you can see the branches on the undercarriage are dying, and then I've got my branches up here with my blooms that are just dying. I've got those that are doing okay. My concern, actually, it is picking up. Okay, I was gonna say my concern is that I've been looking and I haven't been able to see new growth. But let me see if I can zoom in there and focus on some new growth. There. Can you see that new growth? Okay, I'm encouraged this morning. I'm encouraged. I actually see new growth on all of these branches that are doing good. So, I may have saved it. We'll see. There are a few other houses in my neighborhood, and ones that I drive past, those houses where you're like, ooh, I have that plant. Oh, theirs looks so great too. Or, you kind of you see the plants you're familiar with and you check them out all the time to see how theirs are doing. Well, I've been checking out the other houses that have limelights, and I've got to say, one of the ones that I have been admiring, it's gorgeous, is dead. It's completely dead right now. And then another one is on the struggle bus. I have to say there's no green left on this other one either. I don't know if that one's gonna survive. I've been messaging with another member of our community where his has been struggling. I need to check in with him to see how his limelight is doing, but they're on the struggle bus. And this one in particular, because it had mole tunnels all underneath it, so its roots weren't getting the moisture that it needed. So anyway, that's the limelight. I've got one thing that is surviving is the dianthus. I planted these from seed in the spring, and they still have not flowered for me, but they are doing well. My jasmine is doing well. My these are California giant zinnias. I'm about to pull them out, although it is a bloom. It is beautiful, but it's struggling, with the fungus that they get on their leaves. So I've been pulling those leaves as I see them, and they're about done. They're hot, they're done. The vinca actually has done really well. This vinca is grown from seed, and this summer has reminded me that one of the plants that really does well in this North Texas environment in the heat of the summer is vinca. So I think I may go back to a lot of vinca next year to ease my disappointment as we get into this portion of the summer. Another plant that does amazingly well is Gomphrena. This is salmon pastel Gomphrena. I mean, it's flopping over at this point, but just look, it's like a ball of little, I don't know, Dr. Seuss truffula trees. It's just so awesome. And I've been picking them and drying the flowers, and I plan to put them all in a wreath, but as they're dried, I've been putting them into an arrangement, and I'll see if I can pop up a picture so you can see the dried flowers are spectacular. So Gomphrena, absolutely great in the Texas heat. I have, this is bee balm, monarda. This is actually a zinnia flower. So it's funny, there's a zinnia plant in here, in this pot next to the bee balm, and it grew all the way out, and it's kind of just all on its own right there. I'm just letting it do its thing. It's actually doing pretty well. It's so pretty. So my rosemary is hanging in there that it's kind of a topiary. I'm training it right now. I've got lantana that's not blooming for me, and a little bit of leaf curl. I saved this one. It was looking pretty bad, and I got it for $4 at Lowe's. So it's just surviving. I've got citronella that's surviving. My desert rose, if you did not watch, I did like a little midsummer walk through the garden. If you have not seen that, go ahead and watch it. But I've got seed pods on my desert rose. Look how big it is. Holy moly, this seed pod is huge. It's going to take weeks and weeks for that to mature and give me any seeds, but I'm super excited. It's the second summer in a row it has given me seed pod, and here's another set, and it's growing as well. This one came later. But as you can see, the desert rose is done blooming. I've got a yellow leaf here and there, but it is taking this heat like a champ. It still has full sun. I've got strawberries under there. The plumbago that I picked up at Green Acres is doing actually really well in this pot, at least. It's still blooming for me. New blooms coming up. So I think plumbago is a good rock star. I've got some volunteer milkweed that's coming in, and it looks like it might be about to bloom. We're hoping for some monarchs soon, so that will be exciting. I've got more California giant zinnias, and this is what I mean, like they're struggling between grasshoppers and, you know, that leaf fungus that they get. They're struggling. I've got this Texas sage plant that is doing quite well and actually growing right now, but then I'll show you. I've got this one that is almost dead. We'll get down there in a second. I just want to show you my pots first. My blue agave, they're excellent. They take the heat like a champ, no problem. Heat, drought, they can take it. And it's such a beautiful color. And don't touch up here, but touching down here, it's just such a cool texture. It's just an awesome plant. I just love this plant. Plumbago, ceratostigma is another champ in this heat. Full sun. It's a plumbago ground cover. I had never seen it before a couple months ago when I picked it up, and it's just taking over. It's doing awesome. I'm going to transplant this into my garden in the fall, as well as this balloon flower, which is doing pretty cool, pretty awesome. There's some leaf curl going on and a little bit of heat struggles I can see, but it's still giving me blooms. But the blooms are kind of fading white. They're like sun bleached after a bit, but absolutely gorgeous. We've got more dianthus that I'm going to plant into the landscape in the fall. Again, from seed, and I don't have any flowers, but they're doing well. And another Gomphrena. Look at that. I just love it. Okay, let's get into the garden down here. Here is one of my echinaceas that I really, really love. It's got a more compact habit as opposed to my Echinacea purpurea down the way that I'll show you. And the coral flowers on this are spectacular. These are mostly spent, and I don't think it's given me any new blooms, but beautiful. This twig formation there is a little quick fire hydrangea that I had picked up last fall on clearance, and oh, there is some new growth there that you can see, but I think I'm gonna lose it. I don't anticipate it to survive, but only time will tell. I mean, it's just got that one last leaf and then a little bit of new growth. All of the new growth so far has died though, so I think I will lose it. I will be sad, but it's what happens. You pick up and you learn from, you know, the garden. So I've got more California giant zinnias there. Look at that view. Ooh, nice. Just beautiful. Sorry, get sidetracked with the different views. Trying to get a view of this sunshine ligustrum. This is a plant that has handled the heat like a champ. All of my sunshine ligustrum, I have many more in the front, they are doing spectacular. So this is a plant that is definitely heat tolerant, drought tolerant, all of those good things. Awesome shrub. And here is the Texas sage that is almost gone. I'm gonna go in. I meant to do that before the tour. I just didn't have time and it was too hot when I did have time. Oh, the poor thing. It's gone, except down here. So this growth is alive, and I have a growth on the other side that's alive. So I'm gonna go in and trim off all of the dead and hope for the best. I have milkweed right here. We should be getting some monarch migration activity fairly soon here in North Texas, so I'm hoping that the couple of milkweed plants I do have, that we may see some caterpillars, but look at that bloom. All right, my Echinacea purpurea is down here, and it's kind of cycling out. Some of the blooms are newer, but the blooms that are newer I'm seeing are not many petals. I have been told we have Astor's yellow in the neighborhood, which I just learned about this. I guess it can affect a lot of flowering plants, but particularly coneflower or Echinacea. And you let me know if you guys are familiar with Astor's yellow and know the signs. I haven't really seen any signs myself, but I have noticed I don't know if they're getting eaten by the grasshoppers, but the petals on these are not doing well. And then look, I've definitely gotten something going on with this plant. But it's just, you know, like a lot of things on the struggle bus for this summer. And there's more. The other things that are struggling that normally don't struggle for me are my canna lilies. They are yellowing and getting brown and crispy like never before. They've been here for a couple years now, and they did not do this last summer. So I'm not sure. There's mole tunnels under here, so I was attributing it to the mole tunnels. But, you know, just one of those things that I want to document and see if I can get down to the bottom of it in the future. I've got new growth coming on the canna lilies down there, though. So they're multiplying, they're spreading on me. Here's my jasmine. Ooh, here's an update. So if you remember my July garden tour, this whole thing was covered with like a wild Mustang grapevine is what I found out it was. And the heat took it. So the jasmine is doing fantastic, and the heat took the wild Mustang grapevine that was growing on there, and that's also what was kind of overtaking this shrub. So at least we've taken care of that problem. The heat did that on its own, the heat and the drought. So now we can work into recovery mode for the Texas sage. But moving on, I've got more California giant zinnias back here, just kind of struggling. Okay, so this is my Midnight Masquerade Hibiscus, and it's actually been blooming pretty well for me. It just happens to be on this day. I don't have these, you know, the blooms only last a couple days, and you can see more down here. I'm just gonna take those off. However, here's one that just opened today. Beautiful. I love them so much. So this is its first growing season with me. It was itty bitty, like it was like this big when I bought it last year in the fall. So it's not even a year in the ground here yet, and it's double the size. It has struggled. Grasshoppers have been eating it. The grasshoppers really like the hibiscus, apparently. I've sprayed it a couple times with insecticidal soap. That seems to work okay. I just haven't been on top of it. It's so hot back here. But there you go. This is my Tangerine Beauty crossvine. I have 4 of them planted. I bought them, $13 a piece. They were to here when I purchased them. They were itty bitties. And then they have grown all the way up to the top. And this thing is probably 12 feet tall at least. And so they're doing well. These two have struggled because they don't get as much water. These two get some overspray because of the sprinkler zones, and so they're doing better. So, yeah, absolutely beautiful. This is their first year, but I anticipate next year they will be full of blooms, at least in the springtime, and then sporadically throughout the summer. So love, love, love those vines. I'm thinking of doing clematis here as well because the roots do get shade down there. It's kind of in between the wall of our patio and the wall. And so anyway, the roots get shade, which clematis love. And I'm thinking of putting some clematis there if I can find some that are on sale for the fall. Here is a planter that used to have Chinese forget-me-nots. They did not survive the heat, nor did my bachelor's buttons. Actually, I haven't pulled that out, but yeah, that's the bachelor button that never really even bloomed for me. The cosmos do amazing in the heat, that's for sure. They do fine. And then I do have a limelight hydrangea from cuttings in here as well. So it's actually doing the best out of all my limelights. It's giving me a new bloom, kind of. It's just really struggling with that bloom though. This heat, it's just like, whoa, what did I do? Okay, but anyway, it's actually doing fantastic. This planter gets lots of water, so that probably aids that. I wanted to show you something new. Don't pay attention to this. I got these on clearance. This is Vinca, variegated Vinca major, and then I didn't plant them because it was so hot, but then they weren't surviving in the pots. So I put them in here yesterday and keeping them really, really wet. So don't pay attention to this, but this is one of my jasmine that I had pulled out from here because it died back to the ground. And I decided that I was gonna do some fun trellis around this little pole. And my husband made me promise to keep up on it and not let it overtake his smoker. As you can see, I do need to kind of tame this guy right here because he's not falling in line. But anyway, I think it looks really cool, kind of wrapping around that pole there, and it's doing well. Another thing I wanted to show you was my hanging planters. I pulled out the fuchsia because it pretty much died, and so I've got variegated sweet potato vine in there. You can see like this one up there is almost all pink. It's like a pink, white, green variegated sweet potato vine along with a dark purple, and then also a foxtail fern is in there. I have to say the foxtail fern is kind of struggling, but the sweet potato vines are doing awesome. And then here is a rock star plant that I plan to put more of in the landscape next year. This was, I'm pretty sure, the Proven Winners, is it Surefire Rose Begonia in pink? I had the tag. Here it is. Let me just make sure before okay, so this is the double up pink begonia. And I got 2 plants for $7 at Home Depot and put them in these pots probably late spring or early summer, and these 2 plants have done amazing. I mean, this is mostly shade right here. They can take sun or shade, and it has done fantastic in the shade. And I haven't really needed to deadhead. I don't feel like, this view, I don't feel like I need to deadhead, but you get into the plant and you see, like, okay. But you don't have to if you don't want to, and it's just full of pink all the time. So here's that hanging planter. Let me see if I can show you These beautiful pink variegated leaves. Is that not beautiful? And this one's going all the way down. I planted these in the heat, y'all. And they're doing really, really, really well. And I think they'll translate well to fall as well. I wanted to show you this one. And then this is my basil that I had in the full sun, but then a friend of mine was like, oh, you need to put those in part sun, part shade. So this is mostly shade right here, and it's doing much, much better. A little bit of black spots on the leaves, probably a little bit of fungus, but that's basil. And then I wanted to show you really, really quickly, don't mind the board. My daughter uses that as her knife throwing board. Yes, she's into knife throwing, and she's about to ship off to boot camp in the Navy. So we're going to take that board away. Don't worry. But for right now, I want to show you, all I have are pots. I got them. These are 21-inch pots that I got at Sam's Club yesterday for $10.38 each. They're huge. They're huge. The most expensive part of this is going to be filling it with soil. But I plan to put my hostas that I got on clearance for $1 each. I got hostas for $1 at Callaway's last week, and they are like the big hostas, like Elegans Blue Hosta and the Proven Winners Woo La La. Like, they're gonna get huge, so I'm gonna put them here in these pots. Just not yet. So that's what that's going to be. This has been a little bit of a struggle because this is 100% shade, and so we have our Palisades zoysia right here, and it does really, really well up until that part because the roof line just keeps this part shaded all the time. It faces north, so so hostas should do really, really well there in the shade. Coming back here, this is the part of the garden that is probably doing the best out of all of the other parts of my garden. So somewhat excited to show you back here. It's this, I didn't even know I had cannas back here, but I did. And so they just started growing and actually have some leaves or flowers there for me. Here is a coleus that has just gotten ginormous. That's part of the actual color of the leaf, so that's how it's supposed to be. And then hidden, tucked away under these ginormous, massive things is my peony that's alive, but in almost complete shade, and I think that's why it's alive. So that's kind of exciting. This is like a little bit of a struggling tomato plant. This was a sucker that I just popped in the ground in early summer, and it's just, you know, it's doing okay. So I'm leaving it there thinking I'm gonna get, see, it's starting to bud up. I'm gonna get some tomatoes from fall tomato harvest. Purple Heart is doing awesome right over here. Kind of love this little patch of Purple Heart there. Tomato plant, again, I trimmed them way back, and they're actually growing back, and they're doing okay. They're not loving life, but they're not dying. They're trying to flower, but not sending fruit. That's okay. I've got a boxwood right there that's doing okay. One thing that's doing amazing is my amaryllis. It's huge. I don't know. This one might be a 3-foot leaf. Doing really well right there in this part shade environment. There's more coleus. Yes, I'm letting these bloom back here. I just don't have the time to come back here and pinch off all of this, but I love the way they look. They're adding some color and they're doing well, and so great. There's a daylily that has finished blooming, and then there's some tomato plant coming into it, but that's okay. More tomatoes. This is a rose. Actually, no. This is, okay, I missed this weed. Yesterday I went back and weeded. Watch this. Oh my gosh. Oh, I just got the tip of it. I forget what this weed is, but it's already flowering. Blah. Okay, I gotta get that out. Okay, got the weed taken out of there, and now you can see the rose mallow plant that the grasshoppers have just, they've eaten it so bad. But, well, what can you do? I have sprayed it with insecticidal soap. It seemed to help a little bit, but not not enough. More pinto mix coleus. It's a lovely shade of purple. More tomatoes. And under here, okay, hang on. Oh, la, la, la. Okay, look at that pretty pink leaf. But way under there is one of my hydrangeas. Just kind of being protected by the coleus right now. It's fine, so I'm gonna leave it. Here's a bigger hydrangea that does done a little bit better. And again, you see all of these white things. It's because of the crepe myrtle tree right above us. And this is also why my hydrangeas get the shade that they need, especially in this heat. And that's why they're doing as awesome as they're doing. No blooms on that one, but there are blooms on this one. They're getting a little bit on the older side, but they're not crisping at all, which is in tribute to just how shaded it is back here. And here's another one. The only thing I do struggle with these hydrangeas is the chlorosis. I need to go in with some more iron supplement and put more iron back into the soil and soil solidifier. But these hydrangeas are doing pretty well. I imagine these will be a beautiful hydrangea hedge in the next couple summers maybe, or spring. Another thing that's kind of cool is that last year when these were still immature and kind of floppy, I pinned some stems inside the soil. This one is pinned right there, and it took a really long time, but it has formed roots. So if I wanted to, this fall maybe, or next early spring, I could separate this, because this stem is actually rooted into the ground, and form a new hydrangea plant. And each one of these has one of those that I did last summer after I planted them. I think it's this one that's rooted right here. So I could pull this out. I'm not going to do that now in the heat because it needs the roots or it needs to stay with the big plant until this heat is done. But anyway, maybe this fall, maybe early next spring, I can separate all of those rooted stems and I can make brand new hydrangea plants with them. So that's fun. And then here is a brand new no-dig garden bed that I'm working on. I apologize for the noise. My husband's trying to do the lawn work at the same time because it's the only time of day we can do any type of gardening. So I'm out, he's out. We're out doing what we can. But here, if you watched my video, I'll put the link up top so you can click on it. I have a brand new garden bed starting here. I'm just trying to finish out this back portion. And the reason that this was portioned out differently from this portion is this bed was so hard to get done, established, because I didn't do the no-dig method. So it was a lot of work, and we kind of just stopped right here. So I knew coming into this growing season that I wanted to extend everything this way, but also this is a different growing environment than this. And let me back up so I can show you. The reason is because this tree stops right here. So from here on is open sky. And so this garden bed is definitely, I think you would consider it a part shade environment. It doesn't get sun until about 10:30, between 10:30 and 11 o'clock in the morning is when this bed starts getting sun, and then it has sun until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So we're looking at 3 hours of sun, which is not enough for a full sun plant. Here he goes again. It's not enough for a full sun plant, but part shade or a sun or shade plant will do well here. And I'm actually thinking about putting a panicle hydrangea back here or an oak leaf hydrangea back here to carry on kind of my hydrangea cottagey type of feel back here. Panicle hydrangeas, I normally would say, would need full sun, but I think this summer in North Texas has proved that a little bit of shade goes a long way with a panicle hydrangea when it's in a zone 8. And I think 3 hours of sun is going to be enough for it. It's borderline, because they say 4 hours of sun for a panicle hydrangea at least up to full sun if you're in a different zone. But here in North Texas in zone 8A, they need sun, but they also need some protection from that heat. So I think this environment will do that for a panicle hydrangea. I have lots of plans for other part shade type of plants for going back here, so I'm super excited about this garden bed. I'm gonna walk away here, but yeah, this garden bed has done better than the rest, and it's because it's my shade. My shade, part sun garden bed. And so yeah, I hope that you have enjoyed it. I know that things aren't looking spectacular, and which is why I hesitated on even doing this one, but I'm just documenting. This is what works in record-breaking heat, what's struggling, what's doing well, and I'm just documenting. And I hope that you've enjoyed that. If you're also in North Texas with me, shout out to you. We're all just trying to keep things alive here in late August. So I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope you're able to beat the heat. And oh, look at that. That's just spectacular. I love my view. I love it so much. Anyway, love y'all. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel so you can continue to see more garden tours and more updates on what I do throughout this garden. Have a great day, y'all. Bye-bye.